Hey friends, welcome back to Narrative Writing, Lesson 6. We're learning about editing and revising. So last week you did a first draft and you were to add in some details and then you sent in your final draft. This week we're really going to get into the process of editing and revising. So before we can start, let's go over our target. Our first target today is I can edit and revise my first draft to make a final draft. So these are the two big things that we'll be doing today: editing and revising. The second target we have is I can reflect on the mistakes I made when writing to help me become a better writer. So at the end of the video, we'll talk about a little bit reflecting on the mistakes we make so that we don't do them next time. It'll help us be intuitive on what we've been writing about and how we can remember what we should do next time in our writing. After you watch this video, you'll be able to fill out a reflection about after you edited and revised your work. So let's talk about the big idea of what we're doing today. There's nothing more important than proofreading a piece of writing before releasing it to be seen by others. What if Miss Kastner or Miss Dame read it? Or maybe even your favorite movie actor, like The Rock. We have to make sure that our writing is as perfect as we want it to be when we publish it or have someone else read it. We want to show them good work. So what does it mean to edit? Editing means to fix mistakes in our writing. We make our stories look better by fixing our mistakes. We want to make sure other people can read and understand what we wrote. We want to make sure we check the following: spelling. For when we spell, we want to spell sight words correctly and sound out the word. We also want to check punctuation and capitalization. We want to check that every sentence has either a period, a question mark, or an exclamation point. And we want to make sure that we capital every word that needs to be capitalized. Here's an editing checklist to let you remember what you should do to edit your work. The first one says, I have ending punctuation for every sentence. I have capitalized the first word in every sentence, proper names, and important words and titles. I have made paragraphs for organizing my writing. I have checked for and corrected spelling errors. I have used quotation marks and commas to show when someone is speaking. We should definitely be pros at that because we just did that yesterday. So let's try it together. Here is my writing from yesterday, my first draft. We're going to go ahead and edit this. Let's go ahead and start to read. One time, me brother Jeremy and I got lost in the woods. Okay, right away I can see that one time me brother makes no sense. What do we have to change this me to? That's right, we have to make it my. So one time my brother Jeremy and I got lost in the woods. So let's see, we have a period at the end of the sentence. We fixed a word that does not make any sense. What about this name? Didn't that checklist say something about proper names? My brother Jeremy, his first letter should be capitalized. So it should be a capital J. Also, I should be capitalized too, because it's talking about me. So I got lost in the woods. Woods kind of looks funny to me. We have to see how we can spell woods. It definitely shouldn't be in the U. What should it be? You're right, 2 O's. So wood should be spelled W-O-O-D-S. That first sentence looks a lot better. Let's look at the next sentence. My brother told me I am really bored and want to do something. Well, that doesn't make sense at all. So my brother told me I'm really bored. I'm guessing I meant to write really. So really would be spelled R-E, so that's definitely needs to be an A in there. A-L-L-Y. So I'm really bored and want to do something. Okay, so we fixed some spelling. Now we have to look at our capitalization. This M should definitely be capitalized because it's the beginning of a sentence. I also see that I, again, should also be capitalized. Let's continue to read. So I said, you should go for a walk in the woods. Okay, remember yesterday we talked about dialogue and how the first letter in our quotation should be capitalized. So this needs to be a capital W. We also need to remember that in our dialogue we need to end our quotation with a quotation mark. So there's that punctuation we need to add. Next we started to explore and found things. My brother told me I saw a fox. There's that I again we need to definitely capitalize. I is always capital when it's by itself. Talking about yourself, it means it's a capital I. Then we realized it was getting dark and we should probably head home. But we turned around and I realized, and I said, I don't know where we are. Luckily, my dad found us in the woods and helped us get home. I see that woods again, that definitely needs to be changed just like above. And helped definitely needs to be ED, not a T. Alright friends, thank you for helping me edit my first draft. We can try to move on and start to revise. So what does it mean to revise? When we revise, we make our writing sound better. We do this by adding words, so describing words or details, removing words, we take out what isn't important or what doesn't make sense, and changing words. We want to change boring words into interesting words. For example, if we said happy, we can say joyful instead. Here's a revising checklist that we can go through. Let's think, who will read my work? Will they find it interesting? Is my story a seed story that focuses only on one event? Are my ideas in the correct order? Did I tell the first thing first and the other things in the order that they happened? Did I start my story with an interesting introduction that will make the reader want to read more? Will my sentences paint a picture in the reader's mind so that they can visualize exactly what happened in my story? Did I leave any important information out of my story? Have I used interesting words that the reader will enjoy? Have I overused any words or phrases? So these are some things you can ask yourself when you revise. To revise, you definitely have to reread your story to either yourself, to someone else, or maybe even to a pet, or maybe even in the mirror. This way you have practice to hear what your story sounds like so far. It'll also let you catch any things that you should refix or revisit. So let's practice revising. Here's my fully edited first draft. Now we have to revise it. Maybe we can add in some interesting words or take out some uninteresting words. So let's start. One time, my brother Jeremy and I got lost in the woods. Okay, that sounds pretty good so far. It's telling us an interesting beginning. My brother told me, I am really bored and want to do something. So I said, we should go for a walk in the woods. Next, we started to explore and find things. I wonder if we can describe those things that we found. Maybe we can say awesome things or interesting things. So maybe we can add a word here to describe what the things are. This is something I'll keep in mind for when I write my final draft. My brother told me I saw a fox. Maybe instead of saying told, I could say my brother exclaimed to show that he was excited that he saw a fox. Then we realized it was getting dark and we should probably head home. But we turned around and I realized and I said, okay, that does not make sense. So let's think about what we could do. But we turned around and I realized and I said, maybe we can take out this 2 words here. We turned around and I realized. What if we just said, but we turned around and I said, I don't know where we are. That's pretty good, but how can we make it more interesting? Maybe we can add in a feeling. Maybe we can add in, I nervously said. So that is something I would write right here. To remind myself, I want to add in nervously. So, but we turned around and I nervously said, I don't know where we are. Luckily, my dad found us in the woods and helped us get home. Alright friends, just adding those few little things really helped my first draft sound a lot better and more interesting to the reader. So this is what I'll be expecting from your editing and revising process. So now let's do a reflection. What did you notice about your first draft? What were some of the common mistakes you found in your first draft? One thing that I found that I did a lot was spell the word woods wrong. So maybe next time I'll remember that woods is spelled with a double O. I also realized that I didn't capitalize a lot of my words that needed to be capitalized, like the beginning of the sentence. Next time I'll make sure that I do that. When you reflect, these are things that you can work on next time so you will not have to edit or revise them. So reflections help you decide what you did wrong and what you'll do better next time. So let's go ahead and review our target. Our first one was, I can edit and revise my first draft to make a final draft. So we did that together. We made an edit and we revised my first draft. Now I'm able to go ahead and write a final draft. Our second target was, I can reflect on the mistakes I made when writing to help me become a better writer. We also did that too. We reflected on what we needed to edit and revise, which allows us to become a better writer. So friends, now it's your turn. You're going to go ahead and revise and edit your first draft that you sent me yesterday. You're going to make it the best writing that you ever had. You never know who's going to read it. Then you're going to type up your final draft in the Google Doc. Alright friends, you're going to do great. Good luck.